I can tell you what you want to hear, everybody. Welcome to the Football Ramble. Easy for Manchester City and Stamford Bridge's Brentford's. It's Monday, 30th October. I'm Marcus Speller.
I'm Pete Donaldson.
And I'm Jim Campbell.
Welcome, everybody, to the Football Ramble. It's Halloween Eve, so welcome to this very spooky edition of the Football Ramble.
Oh, no. I
spooky.
completely did not notice that it's Halloween, so I haven't got anything spooky.
No, I don't have
my-
anything for
in my
trick-or-treaters either.
No. Oh, I do, but then I realise I'm going to be out on the evening,
Peter.
so I've just been eating them.
Your idea of giving people a treat, and
Yeah.
we'll leave that there.
What I do from my window is absolutely fine.
Well, speaking of which, what was your highlight of the weekend, Jim?
My highlight of the weekend
Passing
was,
by Pete's window, presumably.
well, no, I might drop by there later. I didn't realise this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But my highlight of the weekend came from my future England manager and yours, Gary O'Neill.
Oh!
When he was talking about the officials after the Newcastle game, where he was saying, like, I've tried talking to them. They don't listen. I'm just not going to bother from now on.
Like a
I
substitute
love it.
teacher.
Yeah. Or like
Proper
a
vibes.
sort of like when teenagers fall out. They like
Yes.
blank each other if they see each other in the street. He's going to try that sort of tactic.
I like
It's
that.
like, I'm just
Being
going to
frozen
blank
out.
the officials as if they're not there.
Nice.
Do you think he's going to have to up his sort of PR and press a game if he does get the England job in the future, which we're massively touting him for some reason? It's the Gareth Gary kind of thing.
Maybe that's it, yeah.
Just ignore. I've had enough of that lot.
wanna see
They
that-
always beat us.
I want to see how long he can hold out for.
Yeah. I quite like. I thought you were going to say his reaction to Hwang's goal, which was the turn.
Yeah.
I mean, him and well, I don't want to. Well, I was going to say I don't want to take anybody's highlight of the way, but him and Calvert-Lewin's turns were beautiful turns that we saw. But when he did that, he did that thing a bit like Zidane did in the Champions League final when Bale scored that goal. You know, that kind of. Ooh, that kind of thing. And it quickly went into a more raucous celebration, but enjoyable. So Gary O'Neill once again takes the plaudits on the Football Ramble. Pete Donaldson, your highlight of the weekend.
There's no two ways about it, Marcus. I met a dog called Bernardo Silva.
You're joking.
A dog wasn't allowed on the floor yet because it was a little puppy. Hadn't had shots, but its name was Bernardo Silva.
That is outrageous.
He'll have shots in the future.
Where was this? At Man City's training ground?
No, just at football, 11-a-side. There was a woman on the sidelines. I said, "What's the dog's name?" Bernardo Silva. I was like, "Fine, no further questions."
Yeah.
I also have a dog named after a footballer.
I have told the story, I think, on the Ramble before. The most outrageous dog name I've ever heard of was the very posh woman who walked into an establishment once, and this dog was kind of causing carnage, but she, being that level of poshness, was kind of unaware of pretty much everything, but especially the dog doing that. And someone said, "What's your dog's name?" So they try and call it, one member of staff, and she went, Lady Midnight.
Lady
Midnight.
Yeah. And then the person just went, Lady Midnight. Yes, Lady Midnight. And so you had this northerner
Wow.
going around going, Lady Midnight, come here. So yeah,
It's amazing.
you can find them. But Bernardo Silva,
It's good stuff, isn't it?
topical.
It is topical.
Incredibly.
And,
Had you said Sean Goater, it would have been okay, but it wouldn't have been as
or a dog,
impactful.
yeah, it's not really a dog pun.
Sean
is it,
Wright
mate?
Phillips.
Sean Wright Phillips. I
Yeah.
don't know. But so I had a nice time at the weekend. Look at it.
It wasn't a Saint Bernard, was it?
No, it was a
Right.
tiny little thing.
Yeah, he did say, yeah.
Yeah,
had-
you
she'd
said
had
it was
a-
like a dog pun. But I
Yeah,
was trying to figure it out.
he'd not had his jabs yet, but
Okay.
also in the same match, I was wearing mesh pockets in my
yes.
shorts,
Yep.
and I had a visible £20 note in them. I noticed at the end of the match.
Opposition could see the
They
bribe
could
you were
see.
taking.
No, just could see that was big money, baby. 20 quid.
There, that checks
20
out.
knots.
They saw the note and then they saw the face and went, yeah, that checks
That
out.
checks
yeah.
out.
Actually, it would be your own team, wouldn't it, seeing the bribe? But still.
Outrageous stuff. My highlight of the weekend, the obvious answer for me is João Palhinha's beauty at Brighton, of course.
Also, as well, because it had that glorious thing of the net being soaking wet. So
Yeah.
when the ball hits the back of it, it shimmers and
Yeah,
explodes. It's just
So
beautiful.
much rain this weekend.
wonderful.
Round of applause for the groundskeepers and
They've
groundspeople.
done very, very well indeed. But actually, that's not my highlight of the weekend. Mine was seeing ex-England man Harry Winks scoring a beauty for Leicester City. Lovely one against QPR. Curled it into nearly, we'll give him top corner, roof of the net. And I just love that when a footballer who's obviously had some I say past glories. I mean, he did play in a Champions League final, for crying out loud. You know, goes off the boil a bit, and then comes roaring back in the Championship. And Leicester are surely going to get promoted. It's very early days of the Championship. It's a madhouse, but they are unbelievably good this season.
Is it fair to say that's the league to do your roaring?
Yeah.
If you are a player who has played in the Champions League final.
Absolutely right. Yeah. You've got a lot of roaring.
Very roarable, this league, says Harry. Very incredibly roarable.
Is this it? I can't believe how crap they are. Is what it is. Well, gentlemen, let us move on to the Manchester derby where Bernardo Silva was magnificent. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 3. Manchester United were obliterated by their noisy neighbours, according to Gary Neville.
On the level.
Wish he was Gary Neville. Gary levelling up Neville. And presumably lots of people who saw that match, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very impressive display from City, wasn't it? And it's sort of what we've come to expect for them. But it's, easy to forget that it's not easy to forget if you saw any of the match build-up, actually. But it's, they lost this fixture last season.
Yeah.
And having, recently lost a couple of games in the Premier League in a situation now where they themselves have set this standard where essentially every dropped point is a disaster. I feel like, are they just going to go on one of those horrendous runs where they win about 25 games in a row? They normally wait a lot later. It's they're just going to be like, we're going to have to bring this forward, lads. That's kind of how it felt, wasn't it? It was very very comfortable display from them. Erling Haaland was asked if it was their best display of the season. He sort of said probably, yeah, essentially. But it's even then you feel like there's still more gears to come from this team. They didn't seem challenged, really.
Because they weren't. In the first half, it was fairly even, actually. And Manchester City, obviously they were good. 3-0, it's a comprehensive win against any team in the Premier League. But actually, if Manchester United were at the races, they maybe could have got something out of the match. I know that sounds a bit daft, using, Gary Neville was obliterated and so on. But Manchester United had a couple of opportunities. They did. But of course, as the game goes on, that's when it sorts the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, and City's chances that Onana essentially bailed United out of were probably a bit better, weren't they, than the chances United made? Rashford.
They learned from that first one, didn't they? When Haaland's header was saved, they thought we can't let him do that again. We learned from that ball.
No, what they thought was right, we got that one covered. Yeah. So just let him do it.
Right, Andre, you've got that one, okay?
Man United should launch their own kind of European Super Chaff League for the chaff. Because every league's got chaff.
Can I get Juventus on the phone? We are still interested.
Yeah, it's more like the Europa League, but we are going to do it.
Europa Super League. Get it going. Get it in there. Okay, that's what we're talking about. But yeah, Erling Haaland was involved in all 3 goals. Of course, he was given some treatment by the home fans after he scored that penalty. The fans were chanting Kino, which
that was awful.
I don't mean to be a bit sort of pious about it, but. Bloody hell, that is awful.
Yeah,
considering that man ended his father's career, essentially.
Absolutely, yeah, that was the first steps of that, wasn't it?
I was really pissed off because we there's a lot of people who dug out the Stoke City fans when they would cheer Aaron Ram,
and rightly so. And it's
which is horrendous stuff. But that is
but it is just sort of reverberating around their crumbling palace.
But that's Peter. That's literally,
you enjoy it. Yeah, you enjoy that, mate. You really enjoy that shout.
But that's right. You're right. That's all they've got.
That's all they've got.
It's pathetic.
Shouting about someone's broken leg dad.
It's after he scored against you.
I know. Against you.
Yeah,
it's thin stuff, isn't it?
It really bloody is. Yeah, no doubt about was it a penalty?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I can completely see why.
I like them being given, I'll be honest.
Yeah, because it's not a particularly aggressive action from Højlund, is it? But it does stop. It does stop him getting to a point where he can score a goal from, right? So it is one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, he has denied a goal scoring opportunity there. So
more of a nailed on one than the Newcastle match. Let's put it that way.
Gary O'Neill would agree with you, presumably. Bernardo Silva was awarded the man of the match, of course, despite Haaland's 2 goals and assists. That shows you how good he was. Haaland said when he gave the award to Silva, "I love you," just like Pep does. Because Pep said of Bernardo, he is beyond good in all departments. We're in love with him. And I love it. When you think Pep can't give a higher superlative, you think, where can he go? He's used them all up. He manages to create a nice little new one there.
I love thee to the depth and breadth of my heart.
It really is stuff. He went on about how crucial he is and we didn't want to lose him and so on and so forth. It's Bernardo Silva, obviously namesake, but he is the sort of, if you like, that mercurial player like David Silva was previously. David Silva, one of the best players in that club's history, you would say, certainly modern history. Bernardo Silva, slightly different players, but obviously there are similarities. He's that type of player.
I don't know if I'd call him mercurial because he's very consistent, isn't he? He's just so consistent that you almost... he doesn't always stand out, if that makes sense.
Sorry, yeah. When I say as in tricky and creative,
Right?
I suppose,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's magical feat.
yeah. Just like Antony does, Peter.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing, wasn't it?
Everything's embarrassing in this
See,
match.
this is the part of
Everything's
it.
He just comes on, fuck shit up. Doesn't
really-
help. Doesn't help.
Like, you're right. Everything. He's their. What is he? Their second highest. Transfer fee for a player.
It's weird because that.
And he's brought on as a hatchet man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was the instruction, was it? They just sort of lost their heads at this point.
Well, I mean, wasn't it, Jim? It seemed like a very direct thing he went to do. He's like, I know, I'll
heard
show
the
him.
chant, go out and play the hits.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was. I mean,
He's like. Do you remember when John Lennon and Chuck Berry, both excellent music men?
I saw this clip this morning
terrible,
on Twitter.
Did you?
you
terrible.
love a bit of Chuck Berry chat for all the wrong reasons.
I think with Chuck Berry and John Lennon, there's a lot of wrong reasons.
Okay.
Despite their talents. The clip where
Let's be clear about their talents.
They're playing guitar with each other, and what's John Lennon's
Yoko
partner?
Ono.
Yoko Ono's just going over the
Screaming
top of
over
it.
it.
She's
Chuck Berry's
that,
face
she's the
is
hatchet
amazing.
woman.
She is the hatchet. You used to do that in indie clubs if a song
did,
came
yeah.
on that you didn't like.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear them.
Play Wonderwall again.
I mean, Fernandez as well kind of lost his head a little bit towards the end, and he had that kind of sulky character that we've seen from him when things aren't going their way. And this is part of the problem, isn't it? Like, obviously at 3-0 down, they're not going to get back into the game.
No.
But you at least have to, consider trying, right?
Well, I mean, so you're right. I mean, this is so. Let's come back to Roy Keane, shall we? Because Roy Keane would very much say this is ridiculous. You can't get beat. I think he was talking about the 7-0 at Anfield. You just can't get beat like that, and he's right.
Yeah.
And then that famous line, smash somebody. At least it make me feel better. Well, Antony taking a leaf out of his book there, of course. But you are right. But he called for Bruno Fernandes to be stripped of the captaincy.
He did, which is not useful, is it? Really for the
no,
the
exactly.
club,
And that just shows you strip him of the captaincy. Or is the manager in trouble? This, that, and the other. It is all over the place.
And I think
at Manchester United.
This is part of the problem Man United have, though, isn't it? And it's the same with a lot of big clubs. But I think actually with them, it's more pronounced. Every result that isn't a win, essentially, is a little miniature crisis, and you get these situations where. A lot of ex-players who are obviously very invested in Man United and very passionate about them, such as Roy Keane and Gary Neville, are very understandably, very passionately sort of upset about this, and the questions about the ownership come up again, and it's got its own miniature little news cycle, really, isn't it? Whenever Man United lose a game, especially a game like this, and it just piles the pressure on. And Neville and Keane aren't wrong to call these things out and give their opinion, but I think when you're that big a deal as an institution as Man United are, things are just under more of a microscope, aren't they? And every crisis seems much, much bigger. But I mean, that said, I think they don't seem to be improving, do they?
I think I would disagree with the point that every loss seems like a crisis, because I think it's further evidence of the crisis that they're in.
Every win seems like a narrow thievery.
Yeah, well, look at when they beat FC Copenhagen, we're talking of narrow thievery, right? We all thought, fair play, obviously we're going to celebrate that. It'd be ridiculous not to. But there was a talk about, is this the platform? Is this something? I just, it's clearly not. Now, I know Manchester City are the best team in Europe right now. Okay, so let's not be silly here. You can be beaten. But it's the manner of the defeat. It's all the same noises and some of the performances, and it's just disjointed. I think if you're utterly outclassed by an opponent, look, Man City beat Real Madrid. Was it 4-0 at the Etihad in the semi-final of the Champions League first leg last season? In possibly the most complete performance I've ever seen of a football team ever. Okay, that's Real Madrid, and a good not a vintage Real Madrid side, but it's obviously a serviceable one. They got to the semis of the Champions League. You have to hold your hands up sometimes in football and go, bloody Nora, what could we have done there? Carlo Ancelotti's there going, unlucky lads. Okay, we'll get them next year. This is not like that.
No,
this is it's an embarrassing defeat, the manner of it, and so on and so forth. And Erik ten Hag, he is under a little bit of pressure. I don't think he's under enormous pressure. I think he's still got a bit of goodwill about what they did last season.
He got goodwill.
Yeah, maybe. Well, he needs some sort of wishing well or something to
Harry Maguire would only fall down it.
That's harsh, Jim.
Not with that head.
But
that's harsh.
But
get stuck, wouldn't it?
Look. We said this in the first game of the season against Wolves, which we've cited a few times on the Ramble this season. you look at that midfield at Manchester United, it's disjointed. I mean, Amrabat, who's just come into the side, he's a talented player and he plays, different facets to his game. He plays in different positions, but him and Christian Eriksen are essentially the base of that midfield against Manchester City, right? And then in front of them, Scott McTominay, who's having a decent season, and if it weren't for a great save from Edison, he might have scored. He's in front. Rashford again missed a chance. Bruno Fernandes. You look at that. I just thought to myself, Manchester City are going to pick it apart all day. And you say, well, who do you bring in? Well, and there lies the problem. Who are the signings? Mason Mount comes on, and I said it before. I'm concerned for Mason Mount that his career now he now just kind of drifts
a while,
and it could be a while for him to come back. He was a nailed-on England starter not that long ago. He won the Champions League not that long ago. Although I know football moves on quickly, and it does seem a while ago. But now look at him. Where does he fit in? It is all over the place, and you can blame the hierarchy of the club, and of course that is to blame for a lot of the stuff. But you can't blame them for everything in terms of what goes on the football pitch.
We should point out at this stage that Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans started this game, and with all the respect in the world to Johnny Evans, he came in for emergencies, didn't he? Essentially for sort of injury crises, and they are in that. They had to play Victor Lindelof at left back. They've got a very difficult situation with that, with all of their sort of serviceable actual fullbacks
it's all
aren't available.
Short-term crumbling concrete we've got on public buildings.
Old Trafford does feel a bit like that, doesn't it? But yeah, it's a real conundrum, isn't it? Because it seems like whoever comes in and whatever style they try, we come back to this. There doesn't seem to be improvement. And again, I think the injuries are maybe a bigger deal than people are giving credit for, but it does feel like they're not going anywhere positive at the moment. It doesn't feel like this season's going to progress from the last season. It's at the moment, do you think they're going to get into the Champions League? It looks very unlikely, doesn't it, on this sort of form?
No, and as I say, I know you can blame the leadership, and of course it's there. But when people talk about other stadiums, this sort of stadium, I get all that totally, and you can't underestimate that. But when Ten Hag's when they're signing players, when he's doing his team talk, when he's trying to G up the players, something is not working. And we've seen clubs with disarray in the background and actually perform okay. Sometimes clubs break the model. Look at Chelsea, sacking managers and you've got to give them time and so on. And yet, they've won the Champions League twice in recent memory. They've done okay. It's a shit show at Manchester United. I mean, as Simon Stone pointed out on X, they've lost 5 of their opening 10 league games for the first time since the 86-87 season. That's how bad it is. Their only league wins this season have been against Wolves, Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley and Nottingham Forest. Now, no mean feats, obviously, they're all good sides, but, come on, that's they need to be doing better. And Jonathan Wilson pointed out that 34 Premier League defeats now at Old Trafford in the 10 years since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, which is the same number that they endured in more than 2 decades under him. Old Trafford is not a fortress anymore. Teams go there. It's a bit like what Arteta has done at Arsenal. The Emirates now is a fortress. You don't want to go to the Emirates. Whereas not that long ago, you thought, we'll go to the Emirates. Oh, get something out of the game.
We'll get one shot and we'll win the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I just wonder, but we should give the final word on this about Manchester City. Because, as you say, they lost a couple of games, not that long ago. And we're still talking about it as if it's this huge thing, Peter. Yeah. But when they turn up like that and the players they have and blah-de-blah-de-blah, they are still, without a doubt, the best team in European football.
No one's going to lose their jobs after a Manchester City win.
Yeah.
But it's indicative of a wider problem for Manchester United.
Yeah. Well, and of course, and it hurts Manchester United more that they're doing so bloody well.
I mean, we are about to be in a situation where Jim Ratcliffe comes in and, by all accounts, is going to take over the football side of operations. So, perhaps the solution is already there and it hasn't been enacted yet.
Well, that is the great hope, I suppose, for their supporters. Yeah, there we are. Gentlemen, Chelsea 0, Brentford 2. Was that an upset, considering that Brentford have now won all 3 of their visits to Stamford Bridge as a Premier League club, Peter?
They've got their number, haven't they, really? But, I mean...
I love this when a smaller club's got a bigger club's number.
Yeah, but, it's never quite as acute. I mean, Chelsea are who they used to be, but it does seem quite acute and quite interesting. I would even look at, Madueke's opening sort of clip off the bar, which is stunning.
Yeah.
And it should have gone in. Cucurella probably had time to take an extra touch and stuff. Chelsea aren't doing themselves any favours, but I think there's just something about Brentford who just sort of go, ha, we'll have these 3 points, goodbye.
Yeah, a very old 90s reference.
We'll get an Uber home.
Yeah. Was when Southampton for a brief moment had Sir Alex Ferguson's number.
Right,
remember that?
Okay.
It's just funny when these smaller clubs just do it. I mean, Brentford, Brentford, like they just thought, what do we do? Yeah, soak up the pressure. Yes, get a bit of luck, and then we'll hit them.
Yeah.
And hit them they did.
And Chelsea's home form has been pretty poor for a while now, hasn't it? So
It has,
again,
yeah.
it's a similar thing where teams go and they feel like they can get something.
It's no longer such a daunting task. But it's funny because Chelsea have won a few recently, and obviously against Arsenal, they were much better.
Yeah, they were brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. And you thought, hang on a minute. And now I would suggest that this may be a blip in that resurgent form, because if you look at it, as Pete said, they came very close. They had a few chances. They shouldn't have really lost that game.
No, and I think with Poch as a manager, and he had trouble with this when he was at Spurs. Like he talks about how little he cares for Premier League teams who defend deep, because he just can't break them down. Unfortunately, that's 60% of the Premier League, because there are such attacking teams at the top of the tree. So and he hasn't even got the firepower that he had at Spurs. He hasn't even got the firepower he's had elsewhere. So
Yeah.
you know, he's got weird
Well,
flames.
he's got to find out. He's got to find the solution. For that.
It's hard. It's weird to think that he doesn't have the firepower he had at Spurs when given they've spent £1 billion or whatever it is. But it's such a strange and unique set of circumstances. We've never really seen this anywhere in football before. This amount of sort of turmoil and turnover, and there is a sense, I think, that like the fun's going to stop soon, and that they will sort of click into gear, and
Well, I
that they
think
will
they have
return
been.
to what you expect from Chelsea. Absolutely, yeah. But the performances have been there, haven't they? But even last weekend they didn't manage to win the game. They absolutely should have done. It was absolutely sewn up. This one they've not been able to use that as a platform to build on. But I do think, again, with that many players coming in, and we've spoken about it all season, but it's going to be relevant all season. This whole year is almost like a pre-season for them. Pochettino still has to work out what his best team is, what relationships are worth developing, and it all just is a huge task for him.
Is it the task is made bigger when substitutes kick the ball away from free kicks they're about to take? Neil Maupay. We knew he was a bit of a shit house. That was glorious.
If you're not going to contribute on the field,
yeah.
find a place.
It's just wonderful. But I just sort of think to myself, boo it into the stand.
Yeah, if you're going to do that.
You get your booking. Don't then do a little tap and go, oh, hang on, come on. No, you've made the offence.
You've made the decision.
Have a shot.
Yeah.
Blast it into the player's face as hard as you can. Blast it into the referee's face.
That's the only time he gets into the net all season from there.
Honestly, that when he bears down on goal, you're thinking, shoot, keeper's going to get you, shoot. And I think Ian Wright pointed out on Match Day he didn't even get the assist because was it Sanchez?
Oh no,
who toe poked it through to Mbuemo. But yeah, incredible stuff. The first Brentford goal was a great header.
Yeah,
proper sort of meat and two-veg stuff. Ethan Pinnock, of course. He was Brentford's record signing in 2019 when they got him from Barnsley for £3 million.
Wow.
Just to put things into perspective,
Incredible.
everybody. I love Thomas Frank's face when the sort of manager cam, if you like, when the moment the ball is lobbed up and Pinnock starts to rise, you can see his face go, oh, this is what I live for.
I've seen this a few times on training.
And then it goes,
It's so impressive what's been done at Brentford and what's been achieved there, isn't it? We're sort of so used to it now, we kind of don't maybe give them their flowers, to use a phrase that everyone seems to be using at the moment. For some
Bees
reason.
like flowers.
Yeah, well, indeed, we should have seen it coming. But it is like they've just come up and established themselves as a Premier League force, as if that is actually very simple.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
You're absolutely right, and a lot of big scalps along the way, and impressive performances. And in Brian Mbuemo, just one of the best attacking players in the league right now.
The partnership with him and Johan Wissa is just so enjoyable.
Yeah, and again, their main man Tony's, of course, not been there for a while, and yes, they've not had a superb start to the season, in terms of picking up points, but it's been perfectly respectable, you'd say, and that is a wonderful win. As you say, you kind of run out of things to say to Brentford because you feel like we're saying the same old things, but actually we should still continue to say those things because it is true and what they've achieved and what they are doing.
And give Chelsea a boot every time.
There you go.
Chelsea a boot, if you would.
Peter, what did you think of Mark Cucurella, who was seen posted on WWE's John Cena's Instagram account, and people, what's going on? Well, apparently when he was asked which celebrity he'd like to play him in a film, he said John Cena. Surely he's taken the piss when he said that.
Well, I think John Cena is an underrated shitposter on his Instagram. He's quite a corporate, kind of like steady hand. Like he seemed to learn Mandarin just so that Vincent Mann's share price could go up.
To be fair, that is impressive though.
He's
on one level.
It is impressive, but it's a very company man thing to do.
Did you slag his mum?
Sorry?
Did you slag his mum?
No, that was the Viper. What's his name?
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
Who's a
yeah.
much scarier man.
Who's a much scarier, sexier man. I said that Osama bin Laden might have been in his grand's basement, and as an ex-marine, they don't take that sort of chat very kindly. Eyeballing me throughout the advert break. I was like,
You're in the same room as him.
I had no idea what wrestling was.
I
I was like, this guy seems weirdly angry.
but I'm aroused.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought that you were on the phone, like it was a dial-in and John
No,
Cena.
no, he's definitely in the room.
Oh, right.
What wrestler would play you in the Football Ramble biopic? That's a question.
Oh, yeah.
Iron Claw, the Ramble story.
Earthquake.
Earthquake, John
Wow.
Tenter.
Remember him?
Yeah.
Or
Big lad.
Jake the Snake, maybe. I just remember
Nice.
the 90s ones, funnily
Yeah.
enough.
Good.
Strangely.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't say Hulk Hogan.
No, you can't.
No.
There's a lot of them you can't say, actually. But yeah, this is a strange one, isn't it? Because the timing of this is really weird because John Cena has posted that after they lost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an odd, like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was a strange dig. But
Yeah.
John Cena can't be a Brentford
I don't
fan,
think
can
I don't think it's a dig. I think he's just a funny shit poster. I like him on Instagram. I don't like him in real life. It's mad.
he? Yeah.
Don't know where it comes from.
Did you insult his mum in real life on a
No,
separate
just
I
account?
haven't
on-
had a go.
just on
I haven't had a
Instagram.
go, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, everybody, let's have a quick break.
It's yours to go and win.
Not as ours, yeah.
Tell me, what did you say in that huddle right at the end?
None of your business.
Cheers, Jeff.
None of your business.
None of your business. Welcome back
Right.
to the Football Ramble, everybody.
It's a lovely post match. I very much enjoyed. Speaking of post matches,
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed Poch saying that he wants to be dirtier up top.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dirtier.
Yeah, I
Lovely.
went past Pete Donaldson's window and he told me I need to be dirtier up top. But he's fine down bottom, presumably.
He's fine down the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, he's got Assos chaps on, Christina Aguilera style.
Ooh.
Dirty.
There we go.
Dirty. Press room. Ooh.
Wow, yeah, what a reference. Naughties. You're more of a naughties man,
I
aren't you,
am a
for obvious
naughties
reasons.
man, yeah. I am.
We've got some of the decades covered.
Ring the
dear-
alarm and I'm throwing elbows, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Football Ramble.
There we are, you see. Old Red Man over there. Is it Red Man?
I can't remember.
Who knows?
Who
Sorry,
knows?
everybody. It was, yeah.
Sorry, everybody. It was the naughties.
If you remember them, then you were there. Speaking of past decades, before we move on, did you see that Clive Tilsley tweeted before the Manchester derby? Anyone else that could manage to watch a big football match without an overture from an urban poet now?
Yeah, this was fascinating, wasn't it? Because it was about a Sky pre-match package thing together with a sort of with an urban poet just sort of doing a really smug poem about how successful City are compared to Man United now.
Fucking hate it. I hate it.
You're Team Clive.
I'm massively Team Clive, and it's like, the thing that gets me is it's what old white men think is cool, ironically. And
Yeah.
Clive should by all right sort of go, yeah, it's what the kids like, isn't it?
No,
yeah, Premier League's cool, isn't it? Yeah.
You can't pull the wool over
it's like-
Tildo's eyes.
It's like every fucking advert, and it has been for the last 5 years, has been like
Yeah.
like rhyming couplets.
Uh-huh.
Here's to the bench
Oh, I hate
warmers.
here's to the X. I
Here's
hate it.
here's to the off the benchers.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a point in the poem as
The
well. where
tackle shirkers, the 3 o'clock ballers, the offside callers.
Go on, carry on.
No, I wrote it down earlier on.
Did you?
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
while you were talking about Man United.
Is that your next voice?
That's all I've got.
It?
Yeah, I am open to that.
there is a bit in the poem where he says, "The move from Main Road made us." It's like, is it?
Is it?
Is that what led to that uptake in fortune?
Must have sold Must have sort of sold Main Road for an awful lot of money. I didn't realise it was that
£50
valuable.
billion pounds.
Flip it, Nora.
They found oil.
You know, fair play to the kid.
Yeah.
But
Is
so
it?
what was?
No,
love
this
this.
needs to be stopped at source.
I love this.
Stop it.
Just
Pete
in every
Donaldson.
other area.
What's
of his
that
life.
accent? There's 5 in there. What's happening? They're all fighting.
Pete moves into middle age, moves out of London,
I just
and is
can't
wearing
be arsed with
blazers
it.
during the day.
Yeah,
He
'cause
is
it's people like me who moved out of the country, who go to work on Scion Lane, who pretend this sort of thing is what the kids want. It's not what they want. They want shouting on the internet like every other cunt.
Are you making like a show reel for GB News? Because that's what it sounded like.
I'm going to do the whole show from behind, like, you're the left-wing corner and I'm
Uh-huh.
the right-wing reactionist.
Where would you prefer this time of year, Dubai or Singapore? This is all I'll ask.
I'd like Singapore.
Okay, a bit more culture, maybe.
It is, yeah.
But this wasn't the end of
Better
that
food.
story, was it? Because
Wasn't.
everyone on Twitter thought that Clive Tilsley was having a pop at Peter Drury.
No.
And he didn't correct them.
No.
And it's still up there now, and he
Yes.
doesn't seem to have made
Hanging
any sort of
in the
correction
air.
to it.
Lovely.
The best reply I saw to Tilsley for this, though, was sort of one of those absolute fun vacuums that you get on Twitter. Which it says, just need AI to tell us the player's name on the ball. Bin the rest.
That was that Tory
Joyless.
MP who loved the brief match of the day highlight.
Yeah.
Surely him. Right, Arsenal 5, Sheffield United 0. Eddie Nketiah scored his first Premier League hat-trick and captained Arsenal for the first time when Bukayo Saka went off. I think the first part of that sentence is perhaps more of the headline grabby bit.
Oh, it was lovely. Lovely to see him get his first hat-trick, especially the first one. The first goal was so great. Declan Rice, like, nutmegged cross onto his, into Nketiah's path for that lovely, lovely little, I'm going to say Bergkamp-esque finish, if I may get carried away.
You can.
I will.
Talking of sort of turns and moments, as I said, I talked about Calvert-Lewin, talked about Hwang, obviously different moves and that kind of thing, but this would be in
Lovely
there.
little turn as well. Yeah, and obviously I think there's a lot of goodwill for Nketiah, which is balanced out almost exactly with a lot of people saying he just isn't quite good enough and needs to be upgraded. And it's sometimes my foot's in one camp, sometimes in the other. Now, obviously it's brilliant for him to get that hat-trick and prove that he can, lead the line and be the main man when called upon. But you do have to take into account the quality of the opposition. They are now mired in the worst Premier League start a team has ever had.
Lost 9 of their opening 10 matches.
Exactly, and it's a game at home. But they were all really, really well taken goals. He poached the second one beautifully, and hopefully he can
That
just
third one,
basically
Jim. Talk
score
about that
a few more.
third one.
The third one was lovely, and also even though Nketiah did most of the work, lovely for Emma Smith-Rowe to get an assist as well in his first start.
Nice to see him.
Absolute yonks.
I mean, Jim, you can say anything about this game. It ain't going to make the edit because producer Finn is a Sheffield United fan.
and he
he's
went to the game, didn't
he went
he?
to the game with his brother.
Yeah.
And they witnessed this. I mean, I would say I go under behind enemy lines quite a lot for the London games for Newcastle United, but at least you wouldn't have to celebrate, not celebrate a goal because you didn't see any goals.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
good stuff.
That's probably of some consolation
Again,
for the brothers.
ain't going to be the brothers' ransom. Sounds like a folk tale.
Great win though. You've got to put these games away, right? They can be.
I think you
you
put
can
them away
allow
too
them
well.
to be tricky.
Peter, is Eddie Nketiah good enough to be the backup for Harry Kane during the Euros?
Well, I mean, at the start of this season, he wasn't worth being the backup to whoever Arsenal had, Gabriel Jesus or whatever.
Yeah.
But he had a very good time against not even middling opposition today.
I see. You'd probably still have Ollie Watkins ahead of him in that sort of pecking order.
I'd have Wilson ahead of him.
Oh, I see.
Didn't even set up, thank you.
There's a few there. There's a few names rattling around. Maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin will come back into the chat, which I'll
Ivan
definitely.
Toney.
Ivan
Probably have
Toney.
time.
Exactly. Yeah, you see, and I will bring this England agenda in wherever I want. Damn
know.
you all. So yes, Jim, Arsenal needed this victory because Spurs won on the Friday night. They've got to be hot on the heels of those
Annoying.
hot Spurs.
They need to stop doing that.
Yeah, they're 2 points clear at the top of the table. Still. Oh, it's early days. That's what we said about Leicester when they won. Yeah, but surely not. Oh,
Are you tipping them then?
Well, Arsene Wenger is. And who am I
He's
to
not,
deny
though, is
Big
he?
Weng? He said, but he said deeply, I believe Tottenham will be one of the contenders for the league. Okay, so he's not. He's saying that they're one of the contenders of the league. You have to put them in the bracket now.
Oh, absolutely. Of course you do.
Pressure on.
Yeah. I think the issue that they may have is one of squad depth, isn't it?
Yes.
So, I mean, if they're smart in January, that would be smart.
Right.
Be smart. Get smart.
You're reluctant to give them good ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but genuinely, that was part of my thinking.
know
there.
that-
like
we
as
know
if Big Ange is listening. Obviously not.
Levy casting his ears across all the podcasts. What's that Jim Campbell saying about us? Well, it's interesting to see who will come out on top in the league, Arsenal or Spurs. And if they do, will that lead to a Premier League title? Manchester City would think otherwise, of course. I mentioned Harry Kane there. We're going to bloody mention him again, everybody. Did you see that?
Oh
Did
my
you
God.
see that?
This weekend, like just exceptional work from the Barclays, the Deutsche Bank, and even the Santander. It was just lovely stuff.
A
all
weekend
over
for the
Europe.
banks.
It really was.
Yeah, when is it not? They even have holidays for them, specifically for them. A glorious goal, if you didn't see this. Bayern Munich obviously beat Darmstadt 8-0. There were 3 sendings off in this game, which...
All of them incredibly harsh.
Yeah, but on Sky Sports, on the minutes, they said that was the first time in Bundesliga history that there was 3 sendings off in a game.
That is so funny.
I mean, I'm going on that. I couldn't be bothered doing the research, but
I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah, exactly.
They were all straight reds for similar things as well.
Yeah, maybe it was 3 straight reds. I don't know, but that's what the chat was. But a lot of red cards, a lot of goals, and
it was a raker. We raked it.
It was glorious because when. It's a long way to kick a football without bouncing
in your own half.
And he just sort of wafts it.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Yeah.
I mean...
Wasn't he keen on being a kicker when he retires? Wasn't that his vibe? Wasn't that he wanted to be
in
one
NFL?
for the showreel.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
One for the NFL showreel.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, beautiful, absolutely beautiful stuff from Harry Kane. He scored a lot of goals already at Bayern Munich. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I do love that, though. I love that he just hit the ground running there.
Yeah.
Like, well, what did you expect? Because it's strange to see him. Well, despite...
They're still saying that playing the same game and he's of age, you know?
Yeah,
it's not like he's
totally,
21.
Well, but I mean, what I was going to say is it's strange to see him in the team, despite what Spurs are doing this season, but they're obviously doing it without Kane. But it's just strange to see him playing for one of the elite clubs in Europe and just carrying on doing what he's doing.
Well, there's pressure for him to do that, wasn't there? Because of the size of the fee. And he's just, it's not even bothered him remotely.
And it was all coming up England, quite frankly, on the continent because Jude Bellingham in the Classico.
He just gets better and better, doesn't he?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, they won 2-1 Real Madrid away from home in that. I think it was in the Olympic Stadium because Barcelona's stadium's, having a lick of paint or something, whatever's going on. Barcelona playing with their Rolling Stones kit. Because they've got to deal with Spotify, don't they, of course? And then Big Mick Jagger and co thought, oh, we'll get involved in this. And they had he was there, Jagger, and
he was there.
Ronnie Wood.
Ronnie Wood was there, yeah.
With his little hair, Ronnie Wood.
Ex-colleague, Ronnie Wood. He's doing an absolute radio show.
And Jude Bellingham ruined their day.
Why couldn't Jude Bellingham? Because he's quite, when he scores, he's quite, this is fine, this is what I do. I'm Jude Bellingham, I'm brilliant. Why didn't he get the ball and make the mouth of the Barcelona shirt lick the ball?
Because he'd had to go up to one of the Barcelona players.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's
Give it a
quite a
look.
confident young man, isn't he? If anyone's going to do it.
But what a hit for the first goal. I mean, I know the keeper probably should have done a bit
but the
better.
pace has taken it in.
Yeah, he's just crack-a-lacking. Why have you not got 2 men on him at all times?
I know.
He's just in charge, isn't he, Bellingham?
If you look at the winning goal that he scores, it's late on in the game.
Yeah.
The ball is in a crossing position.
Sort of improvised finish.
And who let him go? Former Southampton man, Oriol Romeu, I believe it was. And he shoves Bellingham. Like, he pushes him almost like towards the goal and goes... So Bellingham, they've got the ball out wide. Bellingham is now on his... nothing. It should be all right, shouldn't it? You knobhead.
Absolutely incredible.
Oh,
I think
Jim,
it's 13 goals.
Kicking the shit out of them over there, isn't he? Come on, then he's one of ours.
13 goals in 13 games, I think it is. He got something like, 24, 25 for Dortmund? Like, it's incredible the way they've sort of geared the team around him, and this is what happens. And you're right, it's really hard to not get so excited about it. Because he plays for us.
I know. I don't think people realise this from other countries. Like England have had some good players. Don't get me wrong, but like one of these ones,
he's the best player in the world right now.
Up yours, everybody. Up.
That's
yours.
the spirit.
That's the spirit. Yeah. That's why everyone loves us.
It's taken us about 10 seconds, isn't it, in the grand scheme to get really
I don't
smug
think
about it.
I would say that I saw. Where was I? Somebody had painted. On a bridge, "It's coming home," right?
Right, okay.
And written on a bridge with white gloss paint. Thinking about that phrase, it's quite sinister, isn't it? Why is nobody in a horror film called "It's Coming Home"?
Because those horror films have been made regularly by England at tournaments.
Yeah, okay, right.
On a bridge very close to me, it says written in that white paint. Brexit was sold to you by liars.
Liars.
And there's a brilliant one if you go from which motorway would it be? Maybe the M4 into London, and it joins up with the A3 into London. I promise you, I see it every time, and I enjoy it every time. On a bridge, as you sort of entering into more sort of London territory, it just says banter. Seek that out.
Nice.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
There's on a bridge near where I live, somebody's written "The Flat Earth Podcast." which I'm yet to listen
Why
to.
have you just given them a bit
Huge
of...
plug.
I just think everyone should listen to the podcast. There's probably loads of them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's odd that you haven't listened to it considering you host it. But there we are, everybody. Before we move on, by the way, if I may indulge a little bit more foreign chat, did you see in Serie A, Claudio Ranieri's Cagliari pulled off what was described as the greatest ever comeback in Serie A history?
Right.
They were 3-0 down. And made it 4-3. They won 4-3.
Check
2
to
goals
your
in
last goal.
time. Well, that was wasn't a victory though.
That wasn't a victory.
So that was described in the Guardian as the greatest ever comeback in Serie A history. So I implore everybody to have a look at it. And it was their first win of the season. And talking of teams with their first win of the season, Bournemouth 2, Burnley 1.
It seems like, why haven't Bournemouth had a win yet?
I know what you mean.
I feel like Bournemouth have had a win, but they haven't.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think that they've been a little bit unlucky, perhaps. You know, they've been not terrible, but the league table doesn't lie, Jim Campbell, unlike Brexit, of course. But yes, Philip Billing lobbed the goalkeeper, James Trafford, from 40 yards out, which was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
A lot of it about.
Yeah, I think it was quite an enjoyable game, and there was no controversy at all. Other than that VAR check that seemed to take forever. I mean,
This is
Bennett.
embarrassing, they were chanting.
Yeah, and we like a stat and a fact and all that. It was the Premier League's longest VAR check ever.
Yeah.
It took 5 minutes for officials to confirm if Jay Rodriguez's goal was indeed offside, as the on-field referee had decided. Now, if you're trying to draw the lines by hand on the offsides on VAR, then you are going to come up a cropper, aren't you?
Yeah,
because that first line, which took off, which went through Jay Rodriguez's head to say he was onside, was a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It was an absolute piss take.
Only there was some sort of automated option available.
I mean, like, what were they doing? About there?
Yeah.
What is it? Daylight? Is it or something?
What do you want it to be? What do you want? Let's. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
He's well on. No, some of him is onside. Unbelievable. But what I found funny was like, okay, so that's where you've drawn the line. They're thinking, okay, so is that onside? And then why does it? Oh no, look, just look at that image. Okay, we've done it wrong. Yeah, correct it. There you go. He's fine. Why did it take that long?
Piss poor. I don't know why. There was a long stoppage in Newcastle's match as well. I'm like, what are they doing? This is insanity.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mike Dean said that it was embarrassing. He said, but you know, as long as they come to the right decision, as long as it takes 10 minutes, and you kind of think,
No,
well,
disagree. Disagree.
Yeah, I'm inclined to disagree. The trouble is,
It's not a stroll around an art gallery, is it?
I don't know. If that happened to your team, though, surely.
No, okay, I get the point, but 10 minutes. I mean, obviously he's exaggerating for you know those purposes, but if you're Burnley, now I know Burnley then went on to have a great chance, and was it Berg who missed it? But you know, it's crucial. You know, you've got the wind in your sails, and that can just take the sting out of the game.
Yeah.
You know, and also players can sort of stiffen up a bit, and injuries can happen and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, they didn't want to take 5 minutes for that VAR check. I understand that. The question is that how did they take that long?
And also, there was another really controversial situation a little while after that, where I don't think it was even checked. Was it Sanderberg?
The handball.
With the handball?
It was that incident. I mean, Vincent Kompany was very unhappy about that.
Yeah. He had a sort of existential crisis in the post-match. I've never seen him so despondent.
He needs to take a leaf
Sad.
out of Gary O'Neill's book.
Absolutely.
Which
Who
he
doesn't?
inevitably will if it carries on like that for him. I worry a bit about Burnley and Vincent Kompany. They're just not doing it. I think
No.
I admire what they're trying to do, and we've seen this before when teams come up and they try and implement their style, etc., etc., etc. And there are differing stories in terms of success, of course. But you look at them, you know, they're 19th. The identity that they so clearly had in the Championship, they're really, really struggling, I think, to implement. And then there's been flashes, of course. But great win for Bournemouth, though. They had a lovely old time, didn't they? So fair play to them. Speaking of the Championship, gentlemen, QPR sat Gareth Ainsworth, and they are now... well, they're not having a good season at all, are they? I feel it's a touch harsh, you know, when Leicester City come to town. They only lost 2-1. If I was Ainsworth, I'd be like, come on, you've seen how good they are. It was only a 2-1 loss for crying out loud.
There'd be a lot of kind of like people who kind of make their money sort of popping in and do inspirational performances, I guess, at half time.
Yeah, I mean, they have lost 10 out of their first 14 games and only won 2. They've lost the last 6 in the league, and they are second bottom. So,
Noodle you out of that guitar, man.
I suppose the argument of we only lost 2-1 may not cut the mustard, and clearly it didn't. But, ladies and gentlemen, quite wonderfully, there are reports that Neil Warnock fancies returning for his third stint at QPR.
Riding back into town.
Come
Probably
on.
welcome him.
Come on. Surely.
I mean, I don't see this not happening at this point. Really. He doesn't want to do a whole season. We know that. This may feel a little bit early for him, but
We've already had 14 games.
Marcus, this hasn't come from nowhere.
Oh,
We know
my
about this
goodness.
because he wants us to know about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd love it if he went there and his first thing was get Adel Taarabt back. Get some of the old band back together.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Warnock he loves it so much.
Yeah.
The idea of him
For
being
a point. For a limited time in every season,
Yeah.
he loves it.
Yeah, I did think he obviously loves living down in Cornwall. It's a lovely spot where he lives. He's obviously a bit older, so maybe he doesn't, have the thirst. No, he does have the thirst. Maybe it's the stamina. I don't know. But
Is that Elizabeth line's refreshing?
did you think?
You got good train links now.
Yeah, I'm glad he's not a pundit though,
Right, yeah.
because
He'd
that
be too loose.
he'd be too. I just think.
We might become overexposed.
Yeah, I think that this is. I think go away, have a refresh, have a little lie down.
Nobody wants to know the Ian Holloway
No,
situation.
and then come back when you're ready, because jobs come up all the time in the Championship. So you're very welcome, Neil.
It's a
to
big
come
league.
back. Yeah, absolutely. Gentlemen, I would like to go to Saudi Arabia now.
Oh,
This
see
has
you later.
nothing to
Oh.
do
Okay.
with George
This is always
Henderson.
going to happen.
He has an
isn't it?
email.
Speaking of managerial merry-go-round, things haven't gone well for old Robbie Fowler.
Oh,
Yeah, of course, he was in the second tier, and he was manager of Al Qadsiya, and he's been sacked.
Despite
Oh.
an unbeaten start.
Yeah, it could have been all draws for all I know, Jim.
no, it wasn't. They won 6 and drew 2.
Yeah, but those draws, though,
Those draws.
were they winning? I haven't.
Clear out your desk. I don't have one. I've been here for 5 minutes. I reckon Robbie Fowler doesn't have a desk. He just has, like that Hoover in Teletubbies.
No,
He
but
just
I can
sits
imagine-
aboard that and snuffles out money for all around
Well, where's he off to
the oil
next?
states and
I
stuff.
love
yeah.
it though. It was the Saudi second tier.
There's a few big name managers who are in the second tier.
Right.
I don't think there's that much of a. It's all. I mean, he's getting fired after winning 6 and drawing 2. I don't think it's about the football.
I don't think it's about the football either, but he's gone.
The second in the league. It surely isn't about the football.
Yeah,
No.
there's only 2 teams in the league, Jim.
Yeah, exactly.
I would imagine, don't know this, but I'd imagine Robbie Fowler has a similar arrangement that 1 or 2 other big names have in Saudi Arabia, in that
Right.
they don't actually live in Saudi Arabia.
Oh right,
Right.
okay.
They live in Bahrain. Well, the alcohol doth floweth,
Oh right,
Right.
okay.
and but it's close enough to
fly in,
to some
jet in.
place in
Right.
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, interesting.
That is the word on those streets.
Okay,
Mm,
good.
yeah.
Wicked whispers.
So they are, Peter. So if they
Lovely.
come calling for you, maybe.
Yeah.
All things
All right.
considered.
Yeah, I've come right round on this.
You see, they get you in the end.
Yeah.
There we are, everybody.
Those Newcastle fans shouting at those.
Go on.
We love Saudi. We love the Saudis. We
Do
love
they?
the Saudis.
Yeah.
Fuck
Do you not agree? After all they're doing for your club?
Fuck me.
You want Ashley back, dear?
Yeah. Fuck it. It's got
Yeah?
the same. Yeah. As long as it keeps the same players and the manager. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah. And
I'll have
it'll
him back
definitely
now.
stay, won't it? Build from there.
A lot of looking at the bills at them. There's a lot of bills. That's a lot of
He'll be
bills.
back in the Championship in no time.
Yeah.
And Neil Warnock will come knocking. Good. Thank you for listening to the Football Ramble, everybody. Part of the Acast Creator Network. Myself, Pete, Vish and Jim are back on Wednesday. Don't miss out. Our Ramble reacts after the Carabao Cup action later that day as well. Follow us on X, TikTok, Instagram and YouTube at Football Ramble. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Petey.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're feeling extra generous, why don't you like this video? Why don't you like this video?